we begin, I would like to remind you that our discussion today might contain forward-looking statements. While these forward-looking statements represent our current judgment on what the futures hold, they are subject to risks and uncertainties that could cause actual results to differ materially. You are cautioned not to place undue reliance on these forward-looking statements, which reflect our opinion only as the date of this presentation. Please keep in mind that we are not obligating ourselves to revise and publicly release the results of any revision to these forward-looking statements in light of the new information or future events. To take us through the results of this quarter and answer your questions, we have today with us Mr. Barun Gupta, whole-time director of the company, and Mr. Vikas Duggar, the CFO. Mr. Vikas will make his opening remarks and then we'll move on to the Q&A. During the course of the discussion, all investors will be in the listen-only mode, and there will be an opportunity to ask questions once the initial comments conclude. With that said, I'll hand over the call to Mr. Vikas Duggar. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Vinay. Good afternoon, everyone. Hope you all are safe and in good health. Thank you for joining us to discuss performance of the first quarter of FY22 of Ashiana Housing. I extend a warm welcome to all of you. Area booked recorded in Q1 FY22 was 1.51 lakh square foot as compared to 0.81 lakh square foot in Q1 FY21. The Q1 FY22 witnessed launch of Phase 3 Ashiana Tarang Bhiwadi, Phase 4 Ashiana Tarang Bhiwadi, and Phase 4 Ashiana Dwarka, Jodhpur. The sales were at 8.3 lakh square foot in the previous quarter. The higher sales in Q4 FY21 were attributable to launch of Ashiana Aditya Phase 2 in Jamshedpur and Phase 5 of Ashiana Umang Jaipur. We handed over 0.81 lakh square foot in Q1 FY22, out of which 0.16 lakh square foot was delivered in partnerships. This was against a delivery of 0.85 lakh square foot in Q1 FY21. Revenue recognized from completed projects in Q1 FY22 was at rupees 24.47 crores, vis-a-vis rupees 25.19 crore in Q1 FY21. Total comprehensive income in Q1 FY22 was negative at rupees 6.14 crore, vis-a-vis negative rupees 2.3 crore in Q1 FY21. Total comprehensive income was negative rupees 5.13 crore in Q4 FY21. Pre-tax operating cash flows continued to be positive at rupees 29.60 crore in Q1 FY22 versus positive rupees 67.16 crores in the previous quarter. Equivalent area constructed was at 2.89 lakh square feet in Q1 FY22 versus 3.90 lakh square feet in previous quarter. The same was 1.21 lakh square feet in Q1 FY21. Our construction commitments were in line with delivery schedule. On this note, I would like to conclude my remarks. We'll now be happy to discuss any questions or suggestions that you may have.
Thank you. Anyone wishing to ask a question, request you to press the raise hand button. We have the first question from Himanshu Upadhyay. Please go ahead. Himanshu, please unmute your line and go ahead, please.
Yeah, hello. Am I audible now?
Yes.
Yes. So my first question is on the fraud what we have announced, okay? 2.4 crores at one of our sites, okay? Can you elaborate on that? What is the nature of it? And what was the weak spot which led to it?
Hi, Himanshu. So the nature of the fraud was, it was an accounting fraud on the payments function within one of our locations. The weaknesses have been identified right now, but we continue to investigate and review if the weaknesses identified were the only ones, and to review processes that were there. And we are taking a thorough review of the internal controls just to understand if there have been other gaps, any at all, and to take corrective action accordingly.
So Varun, this is on the receivable side happened at our place, or it was on the cost side it impacted us.
It was on the payable side.
So the cost.
You're not audible, Varunjit. Can you repeat, please?
It was on the payable side. It was on the cost side and payable side. Correct.
Okay. 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 And there is no chance of more than this 2.4 crore what we are expecting.
It's too early to confirm that, Himanshu. We think we have caught the majority and the bulk of the issue. If there are some numbers, we'll update you. We would like to not conclude the matter as if that there isn't any and not do further investigations. We would like to be internally a little bit more thorough before we commit that. And that situation is continues at this point of time where we are thoroughly investigating the matter a little bit more in depth. But our view is that the chances of material increase from this number is low as of the information we have.
Sorry to continue on this point, but is it a localized site? So it happened on the project side where the cost, some issues were there, not at the HO level.
It is not at the head office level. Our view is that it is localized to one particular branch, and our first investigations and reviews of processes at other branches give a sense that there have not been slippages in these processes at those branches, and therefore our current view and view is that it is a localized problem at one particular branch.
Okay. Two further questions, not on this. So some of the players in NCR market has spoken about strong traction in the residential market in NCR market. Okay. What are our plans for launches on Anmol next phases in Gurgaon? And what is the progress on Amra land in Gurgaon? This is the land recently which we bought. Am I correct on this?
Yes, Himanshu, and I would just correct, the name is Ashiana Amara. Okay. All right. So to Ashiana Anmol, phase 2 launch has been applied for with the RERA regulator. We cannot launch the project without getting a RERA registration. Unfortunately, the process in Haryana is more cumbersome than we thought. And we are awaiting RERA certification before we go ahead and launch phase 2 in Ashiana Anmol. And Ashiana Amara project is currently in the process of getting approvals. We are looking to launch the project in the next, let's say, nine odd months.
Okay. And we have nearly 1 million square feet of delivery in FY22. Okay. And Brinda Gardens phase 4 and phase 5 have quite a high inventory. What are our plans there? And the completion is around the festival season, Q4 FY22. Okay. So what is your ground level feeling of Jaipur market where we have quite a significant launch, means not launches, completion, sorry.
Okay, so I will take those two questions, Himanshu. After that, I would request you to get back in the queue if you have more questions, please. But I'll take these two up. On Brinda Gardens, our overall velocity of sales seems to be improving significantly in the month of July, and we hope to continue the month in momentum now into the quarter and thereafter. We think that as Brinda Gardens is nearing completion, sales should pick up over there in that particular project, the way things sort of seem right now. We, due to certain other reasons, we also constructed the project faster than we ideally would have. So therefore, some built inventory is coming in that project. It's been significantly ahead of schedule as per our expectation. So therefore, we will have some inventory, but it's not a project that worries me in any way that we'll get saddled with inventory, which will move very slowly, as has happened in other projects before, given the pace of sale that we are now seeing in July and what we saw last year. In terms of Jaipur, we are inventory is coming down. We are in the process of signing up more projects. We are giving more offers. Hopefully, we will have a couple of projects signed soon. That said, the land prices in Jaipur, one of the reasons not to have done projects over the last 2-3 years in Jaipur after signing off Ashiana Daksh, we found the land prices in Jaipur a tad bit expensive. And we are in the search for value transactions which make fundamental sense. We hope to be able to find that we are getting a lot more offers of land and where we are looking for pockets where we can create value.
Okay, thank you from my side. I'll join back in queue.
Thank you, Himanshu.
Thank you. Request the participants to state your name and your institution name before beginning to ask a question. We have the next question from the line of Avadhoot Joshi. Please go ahead.
Hi, good afternoon. Thanks for the opportunity. This is Avadhoot from Newberry Capitals. So about the Ashiana Amara, the new land parcel which we have bought, are we going to launch kid-centric homes over there?
Yes, hi Avadhoot, that's correct. We are going to launch kid-centric homes over there.
But considering our past experience in the Gurgaon, kid-centric homes were difficult to sell for us, and we are holding inventory also. So what's the strategy around that to avoid this in Amara case?
So the two differences, Avadhoot, in the existing project of Ashiana Anmol was actually launched as a regular comfort homes project, where we changed track because sales were slow in the first place to experiment with kid-centric homes. So therefore, the project was slow as a comfort homes project in the first place. In Ashiana Amara, we've gotten a lot more time. This transaction took over 3 years to conclude from the day we actually more than 3 years from the day when we started looking up the project. So we've been able to design a kid-centric project from a clean slate thinking rather than retrofitting it into an already launched project. All 3 other projects, Umang, Town and Ashiana Anmol, were comfort homes project which we changed to kid-centric homes project during difficult times, and we were not able to apply clean slate design thinking to it. So here the thinking is different. We got a master planner who has done a PhD in child-friendly housing from the US. A lot of learnings that we have had from the 3 projects have been applied for. So the entire thinking around the project is significantly different from our earlier projects where it was retrofitted into existing comfort home projects. And I think that will make a huge difference in the way this is positioned and the project comes out overall when it's developed and delivered.
Okay, understood.
So if I can just add in another question.
Yes, please.
Yeah, just a general comment on the demand and supply situation that you have been seeing, especially post the lockdown lifting. And more specifically on the pricing trend, have you seen any increase in the prices as such with the commodity inflation coming in and all that? I mean, what's your general comment?
Okay, so 2 things. Since the lifting of lockdown, sales have been good. We have been we expect the July, August, September quarter to be significantly better than the first quarter, significantly better. And sales are, I would say, back to as if things were normal as of today. And second, on the point of pricing, again, clarification, are you talking about cost input pressures or the output price to the customer itself?
Output price to the customers.
Okay, so
there a general
yes, there has been a general increase in sales price on July. We increased prices across projects in varying degrees, and in the way the first indication that we have gotten is that the price has gotten established, and we've been able to do sales at higher prices across projects. And as I said earlier, my view is that real estate is in a good 5-year bull run, and we should see regular price increases going forward right now.
Okay, and when you say price increases, this would be commensurate with the competition? Any comments on the supply side?
So I don't know how much. So to know competitive price increases in real estate is very difficult to get. Yeah. How do you know what others have increased on a very commensurate basis? Exactly. Market is fragmented. It's not like 3 other developers who are raising prices, right? There are 20, 40 of us in any given market. So hard to comment on that on the same. But I think, again, on the supply side, one thing is clear, that the increase in prices are, to me, has a lot to do with the decrease in supply that has happened over the last 5 years, and overall decrease in inventory in markets that have happened, and the lack of new launches or in various micro markets that is driving up prices.
Okay, thank you. That helps. Thanks.
So, thank you.
Thank you. We have the next question from the line of Rohit Balakrishnan. Please go ahead.
Hello.
Yes,
Yeah,
you're
we
audible.
can hear you.
Yeah, thank you for the opportunity. I had just a couple of questions. So I just wanted to understand, in terms of your launch pipeline, how do you see that for the rest of the year? Do you see any major launches happening for us in the coming quarters? That was my first question.
Vikash ji, do you have anything on this? We had prepared something last quarter and shared, but I don't remember exactly that. You're on mute, Vikash ji.
Sorry. So I think in the previous call, we had given some kind of a sense that taking all the planned launches during the year, somewhere in the vicinity of 1.5 million is the kind of number that we are looking at for the entire year.
Okay, and this will be more back-ended to Q3, Q4, or more in the Q2, in the coming in this quarter, or more towards the back end?
So one of the most significant launches is regarding the project Ashiana Amara in Gurgaon. So we are planning to do it in the last quarter of current year. Might be a little bit challenging. It might spill over to the next quarter of the next quarter, which is Q1 of next year. So that is one of the prominent launches that we have. Apart from that, we have got a launch in Pune as well. That in all probability should happen this year only. So those are the two prominent launches. Anything from your side, Varunji, if you like?
So I would just like to add, Rohit, on the front of phase launches. I think they are more evenly spread across the year. We have launched 2 phases in the first quarter. Already one in Ashiana Tarang and one in Ashiana Dwarka. In the second quarter, Ashiana Nirmez launch happens, and in Ashiana Dwarka, we relaunched the phase because the phase got stuck during half the launch happened pre-lockdown, and the lockdown got stuck, so we launched it again the second lockdown. So there are 3 launches have happened already in the H1 of this year, and hopefully we should get 2 more phase launches in H2, and then the rest are dependent on new projects getting approvals, as Vikash ji had sort of enumerated.
So this got it, sir. Thank you. This Amara is how big in terms of square foot? And this is the Sector 93 Gurgaon.
Yes.
Land,
Yes.
right?
It is. This is 21 lakh square foot of saleable area, give or take a few.
Got it. Okay. And the second question was in your on your completed so ongoing projects where there is some inventory. There are 2-3 which sort of are, for the lack of a better word, maybe slow moving. One is Amantran, and then there is Vrinda Gardens. So if you can just talk a bit about that, and also wanted to understand Shubham Phase 4, how is that going?
Just let me just pull that information in front of me as well, so I can look at it.
Slow moving in terms of sales, you mean to say, Barwin?
No, actually, I would correct. I would not say slow moving. I mean, I would say inventory is more. I mean, as compared to saleable area. I just wanted to understand the salience in these two projects, and also Shubham. I didn't mean slow moving as such. I just meant that as a percentage of your saleable area versus your area booked is what I wanted to.
So given the stage of construction in Ashiana Amantran, which is about a year ago, we started work and we have I guess another, let's say, 2 years to go for construction here. We're looking at Q3 of FY24 for delivery. We've sold about 60% of the stock, and I'm happy with that. That pace is that where we have a basic thumb rule at completion of the project, we should not have any stock really left to sell. That's a good project. I think Ashiana Amantran is checking those boxes. And as of now, the information that we have tells me that we will not have any stock left as in when those phases are complete. Similarly, in Ashiana Shubham Phase 4, I'm satisfied with the sale velocity that we have reached over there at about 33% there, and the pace that it continues to move at. My sense is, again, we'll have very limited stock left there or no stock left there at the time of completion. And those are two projects which are not bothersome in any manner, or not. That's also correct thing to say. Let me say, if we take up a project and as per our expectations, the pace of sale in Amantran and Shubham both are satisfying. And we will make decent returns from that perspective. In Vrinda Gardens, that project has always been a little of the slowest moving projects in Jaipur. And therefore, we've always had some units at the time of completion of whichever phase we completed, and then we had to sell that off. And due to some other reasons, we also needed to complete the remaining phases by a certain timeline. To meet that, we expedited that construction. But that said, as of today, the way the month of July has gone and the way last financial year also went, that is financial year 2021, I'm overall happy with how Vrinda Gardens is faring, and the kind of stress that I was expecting that project to have, I don't think it will have. It will obviously have stock ready at the time of completion, but not something that will bother us in any manner or stress our balance sheet. So we are quite okay with how Vrinda is also going at this moment of time.
Got it. Thank you. I just one more question. You mentioned your view is that the sector per se is on an uptrend for at least next 4 to 5 years. So just from our perspective, we've been last to last year, FY20 was a decent year. Our peak, in a sense, is about 2.2 million square feet. So, how do you see us, and do you think, over the next 3-4 years, can we sort of break, let's say, can we get into 4.5, 5 million square feet? Are we prepared as an organization? Because, it will require buying land or doing deals as an organization. Can we sort of gear up for that? What are your views? If you could just give some broad direction.
Yeah, sure, Rohit. After financial year 20, our plans was to take up a lot more land. COVID happened, and then we became a little bit more cautious as to what to do after the first lockdown. As of this time, we are actively looking at multiple transactions. We have 4 live term sheets at this moment of time. And we hope to conclude some of those. We did 2 transactions already in June, which were large, one in Pune in senior living and Sector 93 in square footage. So the great part of financial year 20 sales was that it threw us a lot of cash last year. And we are liquid at this point of time. And we are therefore have a view that we should do a lot of transactions. And the first piece is to get to 3 to 4 million square foot to get there in square footage. But more than that, also, I think from a sector uptake, we need to become profitable, which we will become in financial year 23 very well, substantially. And after that, we need to hit return on equity in teens. I think that's the first view of the company as to how do we get there and put ourselves in gears in that. And launching projects would be key for that. Fortunately, we have now a lot of inventory already, which I think about 50-60 lakh square foot of inventory, which can be launched if we get approvals across 4 projects: senior living in Ashiana Town Gamma, Ashiana Malhar, the land in Varale in Pune, and Ashiana Amara in Gurgaon, which can provide the first thrust in terms of launches. They are not going to be enough, so therefore we are in lots of active discussions for land at this point in time.
Thanks. And sorry, if I can ask one more follow-up.
Yes, last one, please.
Yeah, sure. So in terms of, as you sort of move ahead, just wanted to understand from a gross profit per square feet point of view, we've done 1,000 odd, and as we sort of get into Pune and as more of our sales per square footage would be from areas like Gurgaon, Pune, which are slightly higher in terms of realization. How do you see gross profit in terms of, both your realization and your gross profit? How do you see that evolve in the next 3-4 years? If you can just also give some color there.
Yeah, see, a little bit will depend on how prices and costs behave. At this moment of time, the transactions we have done, the 4 transactions that we spoke about right now, launches, there I expect gross profit margins to be good because land prices have already been locked in and sale prices seem to be going up at this moment of time. My view is that future sale prices should increase. On some new projects, I think, and we are looking for value transactions. Question is, how will land prices behave in context of the sale value that will drive things? But we've gone through 5 years of either margin stagnation or margin compression. So GP per square foot levels, margin stagnation, net profit margin compression down to negative numbers. I think we are hitting a period of margin expansion over the next 5 years.
Thank you, sir. Very helpful. All the very best.
Thank you.
We have the next question from Parag Jhawar. Please go ahead.
You're on mute, Parag.
Hello.
We can hear you, Parag.
Yeah. Hi, Varun. I have a question, or rather a clarification on the pricing environment comment that you made. So wanted to understand which markets are you seeing improved pricing and environment in? Is it across the board, or are there stronger markets right now? And secondly, from your side also, are you less aggressive in taking price hike in some of the projects or markets where you have more inventory to sell, like Ashiana Town, for example? So if you could comment on these two.
I'll go first, Vikasji, if you want to add anything, if it comes to mind, because it's a larger thing. To me, I think price increases are across the board, excluding the comfort homes market, kid-centric homes comfort home market in Bhiwadi. So Ashiana Town, Tarang and Surbhi, where we are not getting capacity to increase prices. Across locations and the senior living projects across, we have been able to increase prices quite consistently. Is the first thing that comes to mind for me. And so we see a general increase across the board. Vikasji, if you want to add anything on this,
absolutely, or with continued focus on the senior living piece, wherein we see in relative terms better pricing power. I think as the mix increases in future years, I think the pricing will be a stronger side of ours. And that is the reason we have been confidently saying that even in the scenario of rising commodity prices, we will be able to negate possibly the adverse impact on margin by increasing the prices also. So should see positive side going forward.
And the price increases that you have taken right now, is it just to counter the RM price hike that has happened over the last 6 months, or is it adding to the gross margin also?
As of now, the price increases that we have done would probably just take care of the margins, the cost input, but I don't see them being interlinked.
I think the basis of the price increase has not been exactly based on the commodity price hike which has happened. The two are definitely not linked. And the price stagnation which was there, looking at the opportunity we saw after a long lull period to increase prices is the reason why we actually started increasing prices gradually. So,
understood. That's helpful. Thank you.
Thank you, Parag.
Thank you. Anyone with a question, request you to please press the raise hand button. So we have the next question from Abadu Joshi. It's a follow-up. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hi. Thanks. What's the quantum of the price increase that we are talking about? And the second question is, what's the status of Ashiana Malhar, the Pune project?
Okay, so I think price increases in general across the board have been in the range of about 3%. Between, let's say, 1st April and now, price would be 3%, somewhere 2, somewhere 4. In that range, I would say is what we've increased so far. And in Ashiana Malhar, we have received all building plan permissions. The environmental clearance permissions are ongoing. Our application is in. We have part of the process is through, and part of the process is ongoing. We hope that within the next 3 months, we should have the environment clearance received. Post that, we can apply for RERA and launch of project.
Okay.
Thank you, Abdul.
We have the next question from Himanshu Upadhyay. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hi. My question was, we said that there are 4 projects where, not 4 projects, but 4 land deals which we are working on currently. Are these for outright sales or GDGV only we are thinking? And we had this IFC some agreement, okay? So what is the progress on that? Are we on that platform? Are we seeing anything, any progress happening or new projects evaluation?
Yeah, so the Ashiana Amara project is substantially funded through that platform, Himanshu. So we had funded Ashiana Daksh, Ashiana Amara, and we are evaluating one more project on Chennai through the IFC platform. So the IFC platform comes in only in outright purchase. So we are evaluating projects in Chennai. One on an outright basis with on an IFC based with IFC. We are other projects in Jaipur and Jamshedpur where we have term sheets signed for are on a joint venture basis, and we are also talking to a developer for another sort of a acquisition on a joint venture basis. Like we jointly acquire with another developer a project that we're looking at. So it's a mix of things that we're looking at.
One small question or a comment also, or whatever you take it. The Jamshedpur, which has been a very interesting market for us, we have seen a lot of success in that market. Are we getting any traction or land deals in that market?
We have
the
one term sheet signed, Himanshu, in Jamshedpur at this moment of time. It's a difficult place to find land transaction because of the status of land in Jharkhand. They say all of 10% land in Jharkhand is only tradable of all lands. And they become even more complex in urban areas in its tradability. So it's difficult to find pockets there. So we are searching for land there. One term sheet signed, and we are evaluating more.
And one last thing, this is on Kolkata land where we have seen issues, and we have said we'll see what happens in future. Okay, but what is there some way we can move out of this land transaction, or are we thinking of anything on that, or we are just saying, okay, let us keep it on a back burner, as time comes we'll evaluate it and we'll progress on other projects or other sites? So what is happening on this?
We are evaluating options to make that progress faster, and what can we do? Is there some different thinking required? But I would say it's more on the back burner, where our larger thoughts are being put into getting new projects, bigger projects off the ground in other markets where we are more comfortable.
Okay. Thank you, Varun, from my side.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone with a question, please press the raise hand button. So we'll wait for a minute or so. So if there's anyone with a question, request you to press the raise hand button. I believe there are no further questions. So we'll hand over the call to the management for closing comments.
Vikashji, would you like to close, please?
Yeah.
Thank you.
We would like to thank all of you for being on this webinar and being so patient with all the questions and answers. If we were unable to take any questions, please feel free to write to us directly or reach out to us directly. And with that, we would like to conclude the webinar. A lot of material we have spoken about is posted on our website, and you can also email your queries for any further clarification. Thank you once again for taking the time to join us on this webinar. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.